Hello, my name is Kritika Ganesan and I am a telepracticing speech language pathologist here at One Special Place. And today I am going to be telling you about some very important tips for teachers to take care of their voice. Now, these tips can be followed by other people too, but they are especially important for people who use their voice for long periods of time. One of whom is teachers, who have to spend long hours of the day talking to groups of people, often in a very noisy environment, and they end up having to shout or project their voice very loud. This can cause a lot of voice problems in the long run, and what I'll be telling you today can help you to prevent that. The first of the tips that I will be telling you is something that a lot of people may have told you already, and it is hydration. Everyone knows that drinking water is good for your health, and this is especially important for professional voice users like teachers, because drinking a lot of water can help lubricate your vocal cords, which are constantly hitting and rubbing against each other as you talk. And providing moisture to this system in the form of drinking water helps them to keep running without friction. Now, the way you drink water is also important. You don't have to drink very hot, boiling hot water, and it's best not to drink very cold water either. Lukewarm or room temperature water is sufficient. Also, the intervals are also important. So you don't need to drink a lot of water all at once. Instead, it may be better to take small sips of water in intervals. So perhaps a sip before a class, a sip during a class, and a sip after the class throughout your day may be sufficient to keep your voice moisturized as you go on with your teaching day. The next tip is using amplification. Now, again, as I mentioned, you often will have to practice in a very noisy environment, and having some external way to make your voice louder, such as having a small personal amplification system. These are very commonly available on the market and may in fact already be used by people who are teaching in colleges. These may also be useful for teachers who teach in noisy environments, only because you don't have to strain your own vocal cords when you want to be louder. Instead, you can just make the speaker louder, and this will save a lot of cost in the long run by preventing injuries. The next thing is something called vocal naps. So a better way to prevent injury for your voice is not to stay completely silent for a long time and then continuously talk for a long time. Instead, it's again better to have small little periods of time in intervals between the time you talk. These are vocal naps. So say after every few periods, if you take a 20-minute vocal nap in which you don't talk at all, this may be better off than talking for the entire day and then going home and staying in an oath of silence for the rest of your night. This may not help very much, but having small intervals of silence for your vocal cords to restore themselves may actually be more helpful, because your vocal cords can actually restore themselves to some extent. For that, you can't keep taxing them for 6 or 7 hours continuously. And coming to vocal cords and using them continuously, one of the most damaging ways we use our vocal cords as teachers is by trying to get people's attention. So if you are dealing with a noisy class and you have to tell them to pay attention to you, a better way to do it than by shouting at them to pay attention would be using something that doesn't involve your voice. Something like ringing a bell or holding up a sign or even clapping is a good way to get your students' attention without damaging your own vocal cords. The next thing to consider is resonance. So resonance is what helps you project your voice. So if you sing, or if you have ever heard somebody sing, you would notice that it sounds like their voice is very much bigger when it comes out of their mouth, as long as they're singing well. And this projection of the voice is what happens after your vocal cords have done their work. So it is not done by your throat, but it is done over the length of your vocal tract in the empty space beyond your vocal cords. That is the empty space in your skull bones, the sinuses, in the empty space in your mouth, and the empty space in your nose. All of these act as a sort of reverb or echo chamber to make your voice pop out when you use them correctly. So when you are talking, a handy little tip to keep in mind may be the word forward focus. So some mental imagery may help. So where if you were to imagine that when you are talking, there is a speaker system right in the front of your mouth, and that is where your voice is projecting from, not from your throat. And this little tip can help you streamline your resonators, that is your mouth and your nose and your sinuses, to make them contribute to making your voice louder rather than putting all of that onus on your vocal cords. The next thing is again something that has been considered in part before. So a lot of you may know that shouting is not good for the vocal cords. However, whispering, such as talking like this, is just as bad, if not worse, because you are actually rubbing your vocal cords against each other when you whisper. So instead of whispering when you have a bad voice, or if you feel like your voice is very strained, it may be better to have a vocal nap instead. Or if you do need to talk, it's better to talk at a normal tone, at a softer loudness. This is called a soft, confidential voice, than resorting to whispering. And of course, you shouldn't be shouting either. So you can talk at an average loudness, a little louder than average, and softer than average, but never whisper if you can avoid it. The final thing is to listen to your voice. So since you are using your voice for such a long time throughout the day, it's very good to get familiar with what it's trying to tell you, to listen to the signs, the warning signs that your voice gives. So if you ever notice your voice starting to get hoarse for a very long period of time, or if you ever notice that for a long time you're not able to raise your pitch or to get louder or to get softer, if you ever feel like the way you sound is changing, like you sound like you have a double voice, if you ever notice pain when you're speaking, or pain when you're swallowing, or even neck pain when you're speaking, all of these are signs of a possible voice disorder, and it is important for you to consult with a speech language pathologist as well as an ENT doctor as soon as possible. They will be able to help you resolve the voice disorder using medical and behavioral treatments so that you will be able to get back to ship shape and continue with your teaching career. If you have any other queries regarding speech, language, or communication, including voice, you can contact us at www.onespecialplace.com, where our telepractitioners are available to take a consultation and work with you to help manage your speech, language, and communication problems.